Syndrome is probably Pixar's most unsettling villain, not because he does the most evil, but because out of every antagonist in the Pixar movies, he feels the most real. He's a bad guy, yeah, but he doesn't start that way. He wasn't born evil. He's not even introduced as threatening. He's introduced as a kid, a fan, someone who loves superheroes more than anything else. And that's exactly what makes him interesting but really dangerous. Because Syndrome isn't driven by chaos, power, or even survival. He's driven by rejection, by humiliation, by the feeling of being told he doesn't matter. And over time, that turns into something way worse than just anger. Before Syndrome was Syndrome, he was Buddy Pine, a kid who idolizes Mr. Incredible, not just casually though, but obsessively. He studies him, follows him, models himself after him. He builds gadgets just to be useful.
I invented these. I can fly. Can you fly?
He even goes as far as inserting himself into Mr. Incredible's life.
I know all your moves, your crime-fighting style, favorite catchphrases, everything. I'm your #1 fan.
Honestly, everything you need to understand about him is already there in his introduction. But here's the key psychological detail. Buddy doesn't admire Mr. Incredible for what he represents. He admires him for how he makes him feel. That's a big difference. Healthy admiration says, I want to be like you. Buddy's admiration says, I deserve to be part of you. And that's where things start to fracture. Because his motivation at the beginning is actually kind of pure. It's admiration. It's belonging. It's this idea that heroes are good, and if you're good enough, you can be part of that world too. But the problem is, Buddy doesn't understand boundaries or reality. He inserts himself into dangerous situations.
I'll show you. I'll go get the police.
Buddy, go!
It'll only take a second, really.
No, stop!
He calls himself Incrediboy without permission.
You mean he got away?
Well, yeah. Skippy here made sure of that.
Incrediboy!
You're not affiliated with me!
He assumes that if he tries hard enough, he deserves a place next to a hero. And when Mr. Incredible rejects him, everything changes.
Well, not every superhero has powers, you know. You can be super without them. I invented these. I can fly. Can you fly?
Fly home, buddy. I work alone.
From Mr. Incredible's perspective, this is reasonable. He isn't trying to be cruel, he's being responsible. He doesn't want a child or anyone getting hurt, so he shuts it down quickly. But from Buddy's perspective, this isn't tough love. It's the worst moment of his entire life. Because he doesn't hear that Mr. Incredible is trying to help him. All he hears is, you're not good enough. You don't belong. You are not special. He shows up, fully costumed, calling himself Incrediboy because in his mind, he's already part of something bigger. He already sees himself as a sidekick, a partner, someone important. He shows up expecting to be accepted, and instead, he's humiliated. And what makes it worse is that it happens during a moment where Buddy thinks he's finally proven himself. And that's where something psychological starts to crack, because Buddy doesn't process this rejection in a healthy way. He doesn't think maybe I need to grow or I need to find another path. Instead, he internalizes it. If I can't be special with you, I'll prove I'm special without you. And this is where resentment is born.
All I wanted was to help you.
I only wanted to help. And what did you say to me?
Fly home, buddy. I work alone.
It tore me apart. But I learned an important lesson. You can't count on anyone, especially your heroes.
What makes Syndrome a tragic character isn't that he was rejected, it's how he processes that rejection, and how if he had processed his heartbreak with a little more grace, that process could have changed his future. When someone builds their identity around another person, they outsource their sense of worth. But he wasn't trying to become a hero on his own terms. He was trying to become Mr. Incredible's sidekick. So when that doesn't work out the way he hoped, he doesn't just feel rejected, he becomes directionless. Most people would feel hurt, maybe even embarrassed, but they'll eventually move on. Buddy doesn't. This is where Syndrome is born, not as a persona, but as a coping mechanism. Instead of processing rejection, Buddy rewrites the narrative. If he wasn't accepted, it must be because heroes are flawed. If heroes are flawed, they don't deserve admiration. If they don't deserve admiration, they deserve to be replaced. This is classic psychological defense, turning personal failure into moral superiority. He turns pain into ideology. He doesn't just want to succeed, he wants to invalidate everyone who rejected him. His goal isn't just to be great, it's to redefine what greatness even means.
And when I'm old and I've had my fun, I'll sell my inventions so that everyone can be superheroes. Everyone can be super. And when everyone's super, no one will be.
This is probably Syndrome's most famous line, and it perfectly sums up his entire ideology. But it's also deeply misunderstood, because on the surface, it sounds almost fair, like he's trying to level the playing field, like he's trying to make the world more equal. But that's not what he's actually doing. Syndrome doesn't want equality, he wants revenge. It's pure resentment, because what he's really saying is, if I can't be special, no one should be. He wants to destroy the concept of specialness itself, and that comes directly from his childhood trauma. He grew up believing being chosen was what gave life meaning. So when that was taken away from him, instead of redefining himself, he decides to come after the entire system.
Turns out there are a lot of people, whole countries, who want respect, and they will pay through the nose to get it. How do you think I got rich? I invented weapons, and now I have a weapon that only I can defeat.
His ultimate goal is to sell his technology to the public, giving ordinary people the illusion of being super. But here's the catch. He's the one who controls that power. He decides who gets it, when they get it, how it works. So even in a world where everyone's super, Syndrome still sits above them. It's not about fairness, it's about making sure no one else ever has the ability to reject him again. He's not removing hierarchy, he's placing himself at the top of a new one.
The robot will emerge dramatically, do some damage, thrones of screaming people, and just when all hope is lost, Syndrome will save the day!
One of the darkest parts of Syndrome's plan is how he creates his own hero story. He builds the Omnidroid. He programs it to evolve. He sends it out into the world to cause destruction, and then he plans to defeat it himself. This is important because it reveals something deeper about his psychology. Syndrome doesn't just want recognition, he wants worship, but he believes he can't earn it the traditional way. So instead of rising to the challenge, he rigs the system. He creates a fake crisis so he can stage a fake victory. And that's where his villainy becomes clear, because at that point, he's not just hurting people out of anger. He's willing to let people suffer and die just to validate his own identity.
Ironic.
No, Phyronic has a different outfit.
No, I'm a new superhero. I'm Syndrome!
And what's ironic is that Syndrome is special. He's literally a genius, someone who creates technology powerful enough to rival superpowers. Even as a kid, he designed and created his own rocket boots that allowed him to fly, which most supers couldn't even do themselves. And as he got older, his inventions got better.
It's cool, huh? 0-point energy.
Yeah, I save the best inventions for myself.
But instead of using those inventions for good, he weaponized his brilliance.
Simon J. Palladino, longtime advocate of superhero rights, is missing.
You remember Gazerbee?
Yeah, there was something about him in the paper.
He had trouble adjusting to civilian life, too.
When's the last time you saw him?
I don't see anyone from the old days, Bob. Just you.
You know, I went through quite a few supers to get it worthy to fight you, but man, it wasn't good enough! Sure, it was difficult, but you are worth it. Now you respect me, because I'm a threat. That's the way it works.
His Omnidroids, which could have been programmed to protect, to save. Instead, they were used as killing machines to wipe off as many supers as he possibly could. This is where his ambition turns into something far more sinister. Syndrome doesn't just want to surpass heroes, he wants to erase them. Because as long as real supers exist, he'll always be the kid who wasn't chosen. By killing them, he removes the comparison entirely.
You mean you killed off real heroes so that you could pretend to be one?
Oh, I'm real. Real enough to defeat you! And I did it without your precious gifts, your oh-so-special powers. I'll give them heroics. I'll give them the most spectacular heroics anyone's ever seen!
But how evil is Syndrome really? That's the big question. Because Syndrome isn't pure evil in the traditional sense, but he is willing to murder multiple superheroes, endanger civilians, and manipulate entire systems. And he does all of it with full awareness. That matters, because it means his actions aren't emotional outbursts. They're calculated, which in a lot of ways makes him more disturbing than your typical villain. At the same time though, his origin is understandable. I'm not saying it's justified, but understandable. And that's what makes him deeply compelling, because he's driven by something very real: insecurity. That doesn't excuse what he does, but it explains it. Syndrome doesn't see himself as the villain. He sees himself as someone who was wronged, someone who deserved better, someone who's finally taking control of his own story. And that kind of mindset is incredibly dangerous, because it justifies anything. If you believe the world owes you something, then hurting people can start to feel like justice.
Geezer beam.
Although Syndrome believes he's in control, he really isn't. In truth, he's completely at the mercy of what he's built. The Omnidroid evolves beyond his expectations. His plan falls apart and he loses everything. Not because someone outsmarts him, but because his own system turns against him. That's crucial to understand because it reflects his entire mindset. Syndrome builds his identity on the idea that he can control how the world sees him. But reality doesn't work like that. And what's interesting about Syndrome is that he technically achieves what he wanted. He becomes powerful, rich, and influential. Everything he thought would make him feel fulfilled. But it doesn't, because the validation he wanted wasn't about success. It was about acceptance, and those aren't the same thing. You can build all the tech in the world, but it won't replace the moment you were told you didn't matter. So instead of moving forward, Syndrome gets stuck. Everything he does is still connected to that one rejection. He builds weapons not just to dominate, but to prove something. To who? Mr. Incredible.
You know, I went through quite a few supers to get it worthy to fight you, but man, it wasn't good enough! After you trashed the last one, I had to make some major modifications. Sure, it was difficult, but you are worth it. I mean, after all, I am your biggest fan.
Even as an adult, even as a villain, he's still chasing the approval of the person who rejected him. Everything he does, in some way, is a response to Mr. Incredible. He never actually grows out of being Buddy Pine.
Buddy?
My name is not Buddy!
When he sees the Parr family getting praise for defeating the Omnidroid, he realizes he lost control of the narrative. And that's when Buddy Pine starts to resurface. You can see it in his frustration, his anger, his need to prove himself. The calm, collected villain persona slips, and underneath it is the same insecure kid who just wanted to be included. So in response, he kidnaps Jack-Jack not as part of some grand strategy, but as a desperate move to regain control, and it fails completely. And here's why Syndrome's death is one of the most ironic moments in the movie. He spends his entire life trying to control everything, to eliminate unpredictability, to become the most powerful person in the room. And in the end, he's taken out by something completely unpredictable, a baby with powers. Jack-Jack represents everything he tried to get rid of, and a surprise encounter leads to his demise. And that's the point. It's actually kind of poetic.
That's my girl.
What makes Syndrome tragic isn't just what he became, it's what he could have been. He was brilliant, driven, creative. He had all the tools to become something great. But instead of building his own identity, he defined himself in opposition to someone else. Syndrome is one of those villains who feels real not because we relate to his actions, but because we understand his emotions, rejection, embarrassment, wanting to matter. But what he does with those feelings, that's what defines him as a villain. And even though he becomes a villain, you can still see the kid he used to be underneath it all, which makes his story less about evil and more about what happens when someone can let go of who they thought they were supposed to be. Syndrome didn't fall because he wasn't special. He failed because he couldn't accept that he didn't need to be chosen to matter. And in trying to prove that anyone could be super, he proved the opposite. But what do you think? If you enjoyed this video, consider leaving a like and subscribing if you haven't already. And with all that being said, I hope to see you next time.